Go. This is Will Sprouse from Black Women TV talking to Big Tank. How's it going?
What up, Wilson?
Now, you've got a long list of credits, so let's start off with how do you go from one job to the other and keep it going?
You know what, man? I think being able to pivot has been probably my biggest strength. Starting off as a DJ and then producing records and having hits with Missy Elliott and Christina Aguilera and things like that, and then becoming a composer and doing shows like the Boondocks and writing all that to becoming a music supervisor. And I think just being able to pivot and always just adding to your skill set has allowed me to continue to grow in the music industry. And I just want to be the best at each of those things when I'm doing them. So as a supervisor, I want to be the best music supervisor in the business.
So when it comes to this particular show, what goes into the role that you do for the show?
All right, so on Force and pretty much on all the Power series and BMF as well. The songs you hear in the background, whether it be in the car or a killer scene, a montage, anything like that, I'm providing and picking those records. And then also, if you have like a show like Kanan where we have actresses on the show that sing and things like that. And this year is going to be even more. And on Ghost and on Force, you guys are about to see we have some jazz music this year. We have, so it's going to be live jazz musicians and things like that. So I'm also, since I'm a music producer, they have me recording and mixing and engineering and doing all those things as well. So, again, it's an opportunity to come in and bring a bunch of skill sets together to kind of, encompass the whole job. So I'm loving it.
Is there a challenge in getting the license rights to, air some of the songs you want to get in, or whether it's a snippet or not?
There we go. I now you're back. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Is it a challenge getting like the licensing rights to air a snippet or a song from anything you want to bring in?
It could be at times, you know what I mean? Depending on the era of the show, but on Force, we've been really fortunate. Anything we want pretty much we can go get, so and a lot of artists want to be on these shows. You know what I mean? Like if you're a Chicago rapper, why would you not want to be, on this show?
Mm-hmm. So, obviously, you've been doing this for a long time. What keeps you going and creating something new?
I love it. I mean, I can't really explain it, outside of my children and my mama. I love it the most. You know what I mean? I love music. I love being able to make people go, what song is that? And who is that? And even more than that, I love being able to bring opportunities to, people who maybe, no one's heard of yet, but they're talented and no one's had the opportunity to hear their music yet. So when we find it and we're able to put it and I'm able to, put it on one of these shows, it's been a blessing. And it feels good to be able to offer those opportunities to people. So that alone keeps me going.
Mm-hmm. From what you've done with Force so far, and even throughout the series, other shows of Power Universe, is there anything that stood out that people talked about that particular track or that particular theme or so forth that, made you proud? Is like, oh, people are talking about it.
I think in all the series, there's going to be things that stick out. The thing about Force that's so much different, and you're even going to see it more this year because we infused it even more, like the house music. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't think Chicago without thinking, two-step or house. There's other Chicago rappers and there's Chicago R&B artists and whatnot, but house music and two-step is so Chicago based. It is Chicago. So just trying to make sure we infuse a lot of that in there. And when people hear it, they definitely react to it.
So for an old schooler like me, am I going to hear a little bit of 10 City?
Hey, what you know about that? You might.
People that go way back and they go like, I know that background song, and so forth. Yeah, that's good, and obviously, you're the supervisor. So who do you look up to when you have an idea that, who's it part of your creative team that says that works, that doesn't work?
Me. I'm just so picky. I mean, listen, I've been DJing since I was like 12, 13 years old, and I produced a bunch of platinum records. I sold a bunch of records. So I definitely have a staff that I will run things by. Like, what y'all think? I'm always gonna play it for them and see which ones feel the best, and then ultimately, I'm gonna send it to the creator of the show. So on Force, the showrunner's name is Gary, and he's awesome. And me and Gary will get on the phone and we'll hop on and we'll go back and forth. Of course, initially 50 and Courtney and those guys are going to be involved, but once we start getting into the depth of the show, each episode, um, I'm going to deal with me and Gary Lennon are going to sit down and we're going to go back and forth and figure out which one really sounds like the most, the best. So I love working with Gary. He's, like I said, he's a showrunner on the show and he wants to hear authentic music. So he's been great to work with.
When people look at your background and they see that you've had a long, extensive career doing films, being TV, and they want to emulate you, what do you tell them to do as far as the steps that needs to be taken to be in a position to be a music supervisor at one point in their career?
I think everybody's journey to get there is so different. I know people who come from the clearance side, and work their way up. I know people who've come from under a music supervisor and watched them, and then the supervisor will eventually give them an opportunity. I think with me, being a music producer and a DJ and things along those lines, I came into it from a different way. I'm a college grad, and so while some people may have been studying, music supervision, I was actually in college studying, medicine. I have a biology degree, so I was going that way, but I always was making music and DJing and whatnot. So being a producer, I believe probably got me the first opportunity, and and again, since I did composition and all those things, learning my way into the business, I just came into it from a different angle.
So was it your call for the opening theme, or was that 50's?
Ah, now listen, I'm not throwing nobody under the bus. All I'm saying,
Because when they always talk about the opening theme, like who created it? People like to throw it on 50, but like, nah, it's the music supervisor. He had to have had an input one way or the other.
let me just say I wasn't the music supervisor on that show. So, but I will say this. It's usually multiple people who make that decision.
Mhm.
When you start talking about the theme, but since then, 50 makes that decision since then. So, but I'm not going to put any one person on that. Like I said, that was multiple people's decisions, and it was before Tank. But I understand why. I've done theme songs before, so I definitely understand why you will remix a theme song and things like that to kind of add a little different, like just a different look to it, a different shake to it, or whatnot. So I understood the theory, but people are just really married to that original one. So,
Mhm.
had a little backlash.
Do you think hard in terms of each episode with the songs you're throwing in there so that there's a little bit cohesive so that way from when it starts to when the episode ends, there's something that we're getting that's similar or something that's totally different?
No, I definitely want to try and I call it a spine. I want each episode to have its own spine, and then a lot of times at the end, I'll try and wrap up the show with one song, and give you something that kind of encompasses not just that last emotion, but kind of walks you through like this was the whole show. You know what I mean? So those are the toughest songs. My end credits are always, some of the tougher ones. So yeah, no, I'm definitely trying to give each episode a spine. When I first get it, it doesn't have a lot on there. So I'm just watching it and finding things and thinking of, how can I tell this story differently? Or, sometime I might want to juxtapose something. So, just got to kind of watch it and see which way we're going to go.
When you're not working on any TV shows or films, what keeps you humble? What makes you be? What is it you do that's outside of music that say, okay, I can be chilling for today? For today.
I mean, truly, I mean, I'm a dad. So that's first and foremost always. Um, and I do love music. Like I like making beats. Like when I'm not working on a TV show or a movie. I mean, I got, quite a few, so I'm working a lot, but when I'm trying to take a break, I'll come and make beats. I know that's probably backwards, but making beats is just fun for me. Like it's like playing video games. Some people play video games, I make beats. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So other than that, just being a father is, number one.
Before I let you go, do you have a signature style that you may be aware of, or that others may be aware of in terms of those who follow your work?
You know what? I don't know. You know, I'm not trying to. I'm trying to give you a diverse palette of music. You know, it depends on the scene. So I don't want to kind of have like one thing be able to dictate or someone to be able to just say, oh, that's Big Tank. On production, on music production for sure sometimes, but for the most part, I love the diversity of the job and trying to match the, you know, the late 80s and early 90s with BMF and then turn around and do, you know, Chicago music on Force. And then let's take it to New York and hip hop, you know, all the way back to 92 with Raising Kanan. And then we, you know, fast forward on what hip hop would have been in 2023 would go. So I love to be able to take all of those and let all those be a piece of who I am as a producer and also as a music supervisor.
And that's great, you know. So I want to say thanks for obviously continuing the work that you do, for staying in this business, to making these shows flourish with the background music that we're hearing. So keep it going. We're here to support wherever you're at. Take care and stay safe.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye.